man just confessed to murdering his girlfriend, but he has no idea that his best friend is an undercover cop secretly recording everything. Make sure to stick around until the end. In 2019, 37-year-old Darren Osmond dialed 999 and confessed to the operator that he was handing himself in. What led from here will only leave you shocked and petrified.
Hey, please.
It's not an emergency, I just wrote to your colleague. I've handed myself in.
Okay.
And I've tried to do it already today.
Handing yourself for what?
It's not a good look for me.
What do you mean it's not a good look for you?
It's not a good look for me. It's basically, it's something that was, it's murder, mate.
Pardon?
It's murder.
It's murder. So you've committed a murder?
I haven't personally, but I know, sort of.
So you've committed a murder?
I haven't, but sort of.
Darren was drunk and had dialed the officers and confessed to a murder that he had committed in 2012. The murder of his girlfriend, Claire Holland, who had disappeared from a pub in Bristol in 2012. Holland was the mother of 4 children and also had a kid with Darren. There was no clue about her disappearance until this point, and this call would lead the cops to a wild hunt.
Well, what do you mean, sort of?
Well, I didn't do it.
Okay, so why are you handing yourself in if you didn't do it?
Because it was my ex.
What, it was your ex that committed the murder?
No. But I tried to hide myself into police station early on.
Yeah.
And the place was it was banged up, it was shut, but they said that officers were on patrol. I knocked on the door. I tried. I've had enough of it all now. I just want the monkey off my back.
Right, so how are you linked to the murder if it wasn't you?
Because it was my ex.
What was your ex? You murdered your ex?
Sort of.
What's your ex called?
Oh, God. Claire Holland.
Claire Holland.
After Claire's disappearance in 2012, her family protested tirelessly, and officers pursued every lead but were unable to find anything. They even questioned Darren at that point, but he had an alibi throughout the timeline proving that he was innocent. However, things were about to get different this time, as the truth was about to be revealed.
Okay, and what happened to Claire?
Well, I don't know exactly. I wasn't there.
Okay, so what is it that you're needing to hand yourself in for?
I have tried. Don't tell me I haven't tried.
I'm trying too, but there's no... If you can't give me any details, then we have no reason to speak to you in connection to it.
I've had enough now. Look, I admit into it.
All right, well,
Just put down that I did it.
Darren? Darren?
I just want to be safe, mate.
Shortly after, a couple of officers were dispatched to his location, and Darren's demeanor did not change. One thing was obvious, he was pretty drunk, but despite this, the cops proceeded to arrest him.
Cool. Did he not tell you?
No, not massively.
Back...
Surprised me.
Surprised you, back along 5, 6, 7 years ago, I don't even know when it was now.
Yeah.
My missus had my son taken off of us.
Right.
For social services.
Yeah.
So I did the wrong thing really, but I'm admitting to it now.
What's her name?
Claire Holland.
Claire Holland. Okay, and do you know her date of birth?
No.
No. And when was that roughly?
About 7 years ago, but
7 years ago. Where was it?
in Bristol.
In Bristol, okay.
I didn't do it.
You didn't do it?
I didn't do it.
Okay.
I had it arranged.
Now you might wonder why he finally succumbed to his guilt and owned up to his crime. Well, this wasn't the case at all. He was just under the influence of alcohol.
What's your first name? Daniel, is it?
Darren Osmond.
Darren, just relax a minute, mate.
I've just had it up to my eyeballs, bud. I've had enough of ducking and diving and looking over my shoulder and all the rest of it. I've had enough. I just want to get it. Whatever's done's done. It's all in it. Whatever's done's done, and I can't turn back the clock. I just want to get it dealt with, innit?
You haven't told us anything. You
told us you
said something
can't
over the phone,
And something happened about 7 years ago. We haven't said anything
but you haven't
else.
said what.
I had her killed.
Right, okay. How?
I gave some money to someone and they had it done.
Right, okay.
But I can't say any name, obviously no names or numbers or anything like that.
The time is 04:26. I'm arresting you on suspicion of murder. Okay, you don't have to say anything that may harm you to mention, not mention when questioned. Something to you later on in court, and anything you do say may be good evidence.
Darren was taken to the police station and put in custody. However, later he denied any links to the murder, claiming that he was just drunk earlier. As the officers had no evidence against him, he was released, but the cops began investigating the case. That is when an undercover agent, Patty O'Hara, was sent to Darren's neighborhood. Somehow, both of them started talking, and Patty linked him to some working opportunities. Over time, they grew closer, often going on walks and having dinners together. One evening, while chatting about an Irish murder, Patty claimed that he had been involved in it. This prompted Darren to confess his crime, unaware that he was being secretly recorded.
I got back from work and there was 3 empty bottles of wine in the kitchen, and I went upstairs. Obviously, but she woke up whilst I came in, trying to make out she was doing something. So she picked up and was starting to try and come down the stairs towards me. Where the with the baby? And she, I'm making him his milk. So I said, you don't need to take him down the stairs to do that. Oh no, you can't take my... listen to me now, right? Mate, I was just, it was just like, I don't know, mate, it's fucking horrible to say, but it was like rugby. And if someone's got the ball and they're doing that, I just get my arm and I go in between here. You know, and it was the same thing, I just went like that. Was that, no chance, right, that's mine, right, same rugby, disappear, get out of my face, and she wouldn't, so I just at the room, shut the door, I told her to off, go make the milk and bring it back up there.
Darren had just confessed on camera, but shockingly, this wasn't his first or even second confession. Over the years, he had admitted to the murder at least 5 times in different situations. This time, however, the consequences were about to escalate.
And she said she downstairs, whatever happens. Who drinks 3 bottles of wine?
Mate, I did what I've done what I've done, and I've done what I did what I did, done what I've done, whatever, innit? But, you know, it's not something I bang on about. But even here, I'd be like that before I even speak a word. I mean, I sort of pretty much assumed that you sort of knew. So I knew that the geezer who ran the pub was going out to meet his missus that night. And then obviously I've got fucking aprons and bits and pieces to wear to do them sorts of jobs. It's all done, it was done and dusted. All the fucking clothes burnt outside, fucking everything's gone.
Patty had managed to get another confession out of Darren, but it was still unclear as to why he would commit the murder and where did he dispose of the body. It turned out that Darren blamed Claire for their child being placed in foster care instead of with family, as both parents were severe alcoholics. He saw her as the reason that he had been separated from his son since birth.
You know, it is what it is. He's done his son. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to forget about it now. If there was anything that, for instance, you want to know, or a question that you specifically want to ask me, then ask me and I can answer. But I don't think that, you know, for me to go through, you know, that, then there's no, I don't know, there's no device or how
In a recorded conversation inside a van, Patty told Darren they needed to travel across the country to pick up some. During the ride, Patty brought up the murder, prompting Darren to confess once again.
I don't know. Mate, to be honest, I've got a funny feeling it was one of those nights when the Olympics were on. Remember we had the Olympics? London? Check me here on your phone of that. And I'm sure the night the Olympics were on. No, I put that in someone else's notebox a long time. Yeah, man. Just trying to in. Honestly, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think, and it is, you know, I'm getting the words right now. I don't want to tell you. It's not that I don't want to talk to it, I just don't want to. I just want to get a lesson.
Days before Claire's murder, social services placed Darren's son with Claire's aunt instead of him. This decision deeply angered Darren and ultimately led to the tragic of Claire Holland.
Not that. So it's not. I don't. It's not telling. I just want to just forget about it. Because you know more than anybody knows. I know. You know. But not. I need to make sure I don't. Because you know what I mean. Put it this way. Life skills. Time it happened, there was a massive load of blood. And people come rushing down like everyone was really coming back to fucking and mate, I think it was fucking.
Darren had no clue that he was being recorded throughout. He later confessed that he had an argument with Claire and ended up strangling her to death. He then chopped up her body and threw her remains in the water. Strangely, during the initial investigation, his alibi cleared him, and he was declared not guilty at the time.
I don't know. It shouldn't. I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know. I was at work. Finished work, I went home. I've got alibi all the way. I don't know, unless they fucking miracle, I don't understand how there's going to ever be, they shouldn't ever have to question.
His confession became the final nail in the coffin for Darren. Shortly after, the police arrested him again, hoping his recorded admissions would be enough to charge him. They then reopened the investigation, starting at the pub where Claire was last seen.
This morning we rearrested a man on suspicion of the murder of Claire Holland 10 years ago, and now we're beginning specialist searching of the pub behind me. That searching we anticipate is going to last a few days.
So your press release referred to new information that sparked the search. Could you give us any indication of what that might be, what that information might be?
Yeah, so it is specific intelligence. I don't know that detail myself, but as you've seen, we've got forensic officers and specialist search officers that have begun arriving this afternoon, and it's difficult to tell exactly how long the search is going to take, but I think probably certainly today, tomorrow, maybe to the end of the week.
You said rearrest. This is the same man that was arrested in 2019.
Yeah, this is a person that we've already interviewed in connection with Claire's disappearance. That's back in custody again this morning.
In 2022, Darren was finally brought to trial for the murder of Claire Holland. Throughout the proceedings, he and his defense claimed his confessions were the ramblings of a drunken fool. Despite his arguments, after weeks of testimony, the judge delivered the final verdict.
I am to sentence you today for the murder of Claire Holland. For this grave offence, there is only one sentence prescribed by law, and that is imprisonment for life. That is the sentence that I shall impose upon you in due course. However, I'm required to determine the minimum period you should serve in prison before you are eligible to be considered for release on parole. It's most important that you and everyone concerned with this case should understand what in fact this means. The minimum term is not a fixed term after which you will be automatically released, but the minimum time that you will spend in custody before your case can be considered by the parole board, and it will be for the parole board to say at that time whether or not you will be released.
Before announcing the sentence, the judge took a moment to honor Claire's memory and reflect on the tragic circumstances surrounding her murder.
Claire Holland was aged 32 years at the time of her death in June 2012. It is clear from the deeply moving impact statements that I have heard and read that she was a warm and vivacious person who was deeply loved. She had experienced difficulty in her early life, but by 2012 was, in the words of her mother, starting a new chapter in her life. She had a new flat, had re-engaged with her family, and was engaged on a programme to stop drinking. She was rightly proud of herself and the efforts that she was making. She had high hopes that she would in time be able to have her children to live with her, children whose contact visits she never missed, no matter how difficult her life was at times.
The judge then turned to Darren, emphasizing that he would face the full consequences of his actions and would suffer the weight of justice for his crime.
You must face the consequences of your actions in the punishment that I impose upon you today. I recognise that such punishment cannot bring her back, and those who love and cherish her must live forever with her loss. For 11 long years, no one except you knew what had happened to Claire. She went missing on the night of the 6th of June 2012, never contacting her family or her children again. There was an extensive police missing persons investigation which failed to find her. You were spoken to in the course of that investigation. You could and should have told the police what had happened. You could and should have admitted that you killed Claire. You did not. You left her family with the agony of not knowing where she was or what had happened. I accept the prosecution case, but you were haunted by it, and seeking to relieve the burden of what you did, you have made confessions over the years to 6 people in all.
During the trial, it was revealed that Darren had a history of violence, including verbal altercations with his mother and regularly abusing Claire after drinking. This evidence further solidified his involvement in her murder.
You were both drinking. But rather than care for and help Claire look after him, rather than addressing your own issues with alcohol and helping her to address hers, you were critical of and violent to her. I find you threw Claire down the stairs shortly after your son's birth. She was to tell social workers she was frightened of you. I accept her account given to them that you had strangled her in the past and that she feared you may kill her. This fits not just with your attitude to Claire, but with the evidence of your character that I heard during the trial. You are, in the words of your mother who gave evidence, a vile drunk. She was vulnerable. It was late at night and she had been drinking. When you confessed to others, Claire, you said to some that you strangled her, and to others that you paid for someone else to kill her. I am sure that you killed her yourself.
Despite overwhelming evidence, Darren continued to deny responsibility for the murder and refused to reveal where he had hidden Claire's body. Finally, the judge announced the sentence, bringing closure to a case that had remained a mystery for over a decade.
I urge you for once to stand up to what you have done in the very near future, and to disclose what you did and where her body might be found, so that she may be laid to rest. Taking into account all the aggravating and mitigating factors as exist, in my judgment, the minimum term I impose is one of 20 years imprisonment. Stand up. Darren Osmond, for the murder of Claire Holland, I sentence you to life imprisonment. You will serve a minimum term of 20 years less the 503 days you have served on remand. Thereafter, it will be for the parole board to decide when, if ever, you should be released. If you are ever released, you will remain on licence for the rest of your life.
Darren was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Given his continued denial of the murder and refusal to disclose the location of Claire's, it is highly unlikely that he will be released anytime soon. Well, that brings us to the end of this video. Today we witness a masterfully solved murder case thanks to the diligent work of the police and an undercover agent who earned Darren's trust before exposing his crime. Thankfully, the judge delivered justice, ensuring that this criminal was held accountable for his actions. If you agreed, please support us by liking this video. Also, if you enjoyed this video, watch these moments where corrupt cops were caught on camera doing the unthinkable.
Oh, gosh! You shot me!